Hey everybody, it's Elisa with Momtastic Life and welcome back to another Bake With Me video. So if you are new here, welcome. Thank you so much for popping in. And if you are not new here, thanks for hanging out again and for your continued support. I really, really appreciate it, you guys. This whole YouTube thing is new for me. It's been a blast so far, but I really appreciate all the support you guys have been showing me. So thank you. So for today's treat, we are doing chocolate chip caramel butter bars. Did you get that? Chocolate chip caramel butter bars. And I realized I said caramel and caramel differently. How do you pronounce it? I think I typically say caramel, but that's what we're making. And they look delicious. It's a recipe I found on Pinterest. And I just had to try it because what could be bad about that? And it's basically a combination of chocolate chip cookie, sugar cookie with a nice layer of caramel in there. That's what it says. So we shall see. But first, let's turn around, take a look at our ingredients, and then we'll get to baking. All right, so here is a quick overview of the ingredients. And if you notice, there aren't very many in this recipe. It's fairly simple. A couple of surprise ingredients, or one at least. So over here we have flour, and we're going to be using a lot of flour. Some sugar, which is also going to be a good amount. Some baking soda, and I'm not sure if I have enough left in the big container, so I have my small container. Vanilla. Look at this, you guys. Cream of tartar. And I actually had this in my spice cabinet, which is interesting, but we'll need some of that. 1.5 cups of butter, 3 full sticks of butter, salted and at room temperature. An entire jar of caramel, yum. 2 eggs. And I have 2 bags of chocolate chips out here because we need 2 cups, but I just noticed this, they're both Hershey's, and look at the packages. They're totally different. I wonder what that's all about. I don't know. And some non-stick spray for our pan. And I just happen to have the butter flavor on hand, so that's what I'm using, but you could probably just use the regular pan as well. All right, and that's it. That's everything for our recipe today. So let's get started. That's me. You called me. You should know what address you have on file for me. All right, you guys, we're gonna get started, and what you're gonna need is a nice sized bowl. And this recipe actually requires an electric mixer. Now, I think you could probably use a spoon to mix if you wanted to, but we're using enough flour that the dough is probably gonna be fairly stiff towards the end. So it might just be easier if you have an electric mixer to use that. All right, so first we start with the butter. And like I said earlier, it is salted and it's room temperature, which means it is slightly soft, but not mushy. And we use 3 full sticks, you guys. Like, this is gonna be some buttery goodness. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And we're gonna combine that with our sugar. And this actually uses a lot of sugar. It's all white sugar this time, no brown sugar. And that's supposed to make it more like a sugar cookie part as opposed to a chocolate chip cookie, I guess, which uses white and brown typically. So we get a full 1.5 cups of sugar. And this is a 1/2 cup scoop. So we'll have 3 of these. 1, 2, let's get a full scoop. and 3. All right. Out of the way. And now we mix. All right, so this is nice and fluffy, and there's a lot of this butter sugar mixture stuck in the blender, the bladey things here. The bladey things. That's a very technical term, by the way, the bladey things. But we're gonna just roll with it for now, and as we add our wet ingredients, hopefully it'll loosen up, otherwise we'll have to poke it out with a spoon or something. So, whoops, come on, sit, not happening. Stay, all right. Okay, so next we are going to add in our eggs and vanilla. We have 2 eggs here. Let's see if we can get a good crack. Directly in, yes. And 2. No shells, no shells, no shells. Yay! No shells for you. And this recipe takes an entire tablespoon of vanilla. A typical cookie recipe would be a teaspoon or maybe even 2 teaspoons occasionally, but this one takes an entire tablespoon of vanilla. So we're gonna add that in. I love the smell of vanilla too. It's so good. But have you ever tasted vanilla like not incorporated or mixed into a recipe? It's kind of yucky. It's gross, but it smells delicious. All right, we're mixing. All right. Oh yeah, that looks good and creamy, and everything that was in the beater thing, the beaters, that's what they're called. The beater things earlier came out. I realized there's stuff in there again now, but the eggs and vanilla did help to clean it out. So I am not worried. Boy, I'm having technical issues today, huh? All right. I think part of the problem is this bowl that I'm using is plastic and it doesn't have the weight to support the beater dealing thingies, but that's okay. All right, next, in this little bowl, I have 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Okay, and we're gonna toss this in and mix. All right, that was quick. That was speedy. And I think I forgot to mention, right before I started adding everything in, I did start my oven. It is preheating. Actually, it's heated now at 350 degrees. So if you haven't gotten your oven going, go ahead and take a step over, get your oven preheating to 350. So it will be ready when we are ready. All right, and lastly, this recipe goes really quick. Lastly, in here, 4 full cups of flour, guys. This is a lot of flippin' flour for a cookie recipe, but yeah, we shall see. 4 cups of flour. We're gonna add this slowly, meaning we're not gonna just dump this all in because that would be a huge disaster, both with the blenders making it fly all over and trying to get it all mixed up and incorporated. So we're gonna add a little, stop and mix, add some more, stop and mix, okay? This is probably the longest part of this recipe aside from the actual baking. Here we go. We'll add some more flour. Oh, and hey, did you guys notice? I finally remembered my apron, which is super cool because now my shirt won't be filthy at the end of this charade. Lovin' from the oven. Elisa's Kitchen down here, and it says established 2020. So my good friend April picked this up for me this year, and thank you, April. And so this is my kitchen PPE, my kitchen protective gear. That's what this is. I like it. All right, onward. to do. It's supposed to be actually a pretty solid stiff dough by the time we get the chocolate chips in there. So I feel like we're running in the right direction. Okay, wow, this mixer is working really hard. This dough is really thick and stiff, and I actually had to turn the speed up a little bit just to get it to keep moving. That's how thick it is. What does that all mean? I don't know. All right, I have somehow managed to get some batter on the inside here on the side of my counter. I don't know where that came from, but splat. All right, I'm gonna grab a spoon, my handy dandy spoon, and just scrape the sides down because this stuff is going all over the bowl. All right, and I actually, I'm gonna scrape some of the batter out of the beater things too, just to loosen it up a little. All right. Yeah, it's not perfect, but come on. All right, we're gonna give it one more quick mix with this, and then we're gonna pull the beaters out and stir in the chocolate chips. So this really is a pretty quick and easy base for this recipe. All right, and the spoon will sit here. All right, here we go. Last time. All right, that was quick, but we're done. So, holy moly, you guys. I don't think this electric mixer has ever worked so hard in its life. All right, so here we are going to try and tap all this out. I know that's loud. All right, that was work. However, this is what we're looking at now. It's just a nice basic cookie base, and now we're gonna add our chocolate chips. And this recipe calls for 2 full cups of chocolate chips, which is a really good amount. Let's get some scissors. Snip, snip. There's 1 cup. Oh, it's just going to be a perfect 2 cups. Ooh, it is. I never realized that 1 full bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips is apparently 2 cups. That's awesome. Because now I have a whole extra bag of chocolate chips for my next chocolatey, chippity baking adventure. Win! All right, 2 cups of chocolate chips. And now we're just gonna stir this in, and it's gonna probably take a minute or so because the batter is quite thick. All right. I did bars last week. This is the 2nd week in a row doing bars. I don't think I've ever made so many bars in my life. I don't know what my deal is. I don't know. All I know is that apparently bar hopping has a whole new meaning in your 50s. Because when I was 20, it wasn't about this. Nope. All right, here we go. We are incorporated. Yes, we are. All right, we are going to set this batter aside for just a couple of minutes and make the caramel topping. Okay, so I have the batter sitting, you can see it over there, the batter sitting on the side, and the next thing we're gonna do is make the caramel filling. Now, there's not that much that goes into it. We use this entire jar. It's 11 ounces, I believe. 14 ounces, let me see. All right, this is 14 ounces, and the recipe says 11 ounces. So it's about a 3-ounce difference, but probably just gonna use the whole thing because I don't think it's gonna make a big difference. Oh, look at that. I didn't realize it came out so quickly. All right, I thought it was gonna be a lot like thicker and stickier. All right, is this 3 ounces left? I don't know. I can't tell. All right, we'll save it. You know what? Maybe Mason will want it on some, screw it, I'll probably eat it with a spoon. If you want the honest truth. It's probably not going on ice cream. It's probably gonna end up on a spoon, but that's okay. So we take the caramel. Oh, that's delicious. And a 1/4 cup of flour. And the flour is just working to thicken the caramel up a little bit so it's not quite so runny. Ew, and I think I drooled. Oh boy. All right, 1/4 cup of flour. Fantastic. And you're just gonna use a whisk and mix that up. All right, got my whisk, here we go. All right, note to self and to others, don't whisk it too quickly because the flour will explode out of the bowl. But shh, we don't need to say that happened. All right, oh yeah. Okay, so it has thickened it up a little bit. Now it's sort of the consistency of like if you had one of those little caramel candies and you melted it, it's more like that, I think. It's not as runny. Look at this caramelly goodness. Yeah, that's gonna be delicious. All right, we are fully mixed in. So we're gonna just set this here. I'm going to rinse my hands for just a moment. Okay, and now because this is a bar, once again, we need a 9 by 13 inch pan, which is your basic, like a casserole dish type of thing, okay? Then we're gonna spray this with the non-stick spray, and then we're gonna get some batter into it. All right. I am also spraying the sides of the pan because we are going to push the batter up partway up the sides, and so we don't want it to stick anywhere. And this smells super buttery. I know it's butter flavor, but it really smells buttery. Whew. All right, I am a buttered babe today. All right, so we are just gonna take half of our batter, which I am eyeballing, and I have separated with my spoon. And we're gonna put this right into our dish here. Dish? Pan? What do we call it? I would say casserole dish, but dish doesn't seem appropriate. I don't know. All right, so we're gonna take a little bit of the nonstick spray onto our hands. Not too sure how I feel about that. Wait. All right, here comes a really bad joke because I just thought of it. Since this is butter flavor, Do I now have butterfingers? Horrible, I know, but I can't help it. All right, we are going to press the batter in. Spread it out. And we do want it just partially up the sides. We don't want it to come all the way to the top. That's going to be a little bit overkill, but we just do want it a little bit up the sides. All right, with my hands. So you can see it's up the sides a little bit, maybe a quarter of the way. I'm going with that. And for the sake of not dropping the bowl of caramel, because my hands are all slippery, I'm going to rinse. All right, we're living dangerously with all the butter hands and the stuffs. All right, so our next step is to take our caramel, which is all ready for us, and we're just gonna pour this right over the batter. Look at that. Woo-hoo. Oh yeah, guys. I already know this is gonna be delicious because seriously, how could it not be? All right, I'm gonna pour it right over. I'm actually going to grab a small spatula to just spread this out evenly. Okay. Nice little flexible spatula here. Just gonna use this to just spread the caramel out a little bit so it gets to all parts. All right, here we go. Okay, and so then the last part before this goes into the oven is to just drop the rest of the cookie dough on top in no specific shape or form or style. It's just take a chunk and drop it on. So here we go. Right, we're gonna cover the whole top here, but it's not like it has to be perfect. Just like in the last bar recipe I did, you just throw it on there. All right, so I have a tiny bit of batter left in my bowl. So maybe I could have used a little bit more in the base. I feel like this is pretty well covered. I'll put a couple more little drops on here. All right. Okay, so we are gonna pop this into the oven and let it bake. All right, so here's what we got. And this is going into the oven. It's 350 degrees for 25 minutes. See you on the flip side. Okay, baking time is over. We're about to take them out of the oven. Let's see what we got. Oh, this looks good. All right, so this is what we're looking at. And the timer went off at 25 minutes, but they were not done yet. I could just look at them and tell that it wasn't completely baked. So I left them in for about another 5 minutes. So they cooked about 30 minutes. The directions say 25 to 35 minutes. But as you guys know, if you've been watching, I always start with the lower or lesser amount of time so I don't overbake. And then I stood here. I stood here and watched with the oven light on for 5 minutes to make sure I didn't go crazy and burn them. So they did stay in the oven about 30 minutes. They need to cool completely before we can cut into them because that's what it says to do. So that's what we're gonna do. So once they are all cool and ready for us, then we'll come back, we'll take a taste, we'll take a look and see what we got. Okay, so it's now about 5:30 and the caramel butter bars, chocolate chip caramel butter bars have been cooling for about 2 hours. So I think it's safe to cut into it. So let's take it down to the counter, cut in and see what we have. All right. Pretty easy to cut through. Okay, and the way I've got this cut is in 24 slices or bars. Okay, so let's pull one out and see what we have got. The first slice is always the hardest. All right, let's see. Oh gosh, you guys, this looks really good. All right, now I can't tell. All right, this little bottom piece, wait for me, is a lost piece from what I just took out. So yes, we are getting every single bit of it. And I'm just gonna put that here. Leave my utensils here. All right. So this is what we are looking at. This is a little extra piece that fell off. Now for the taste test. Okay, so here comes the true test, right? The taste test. It smells delicious. It looks delicious. But that doesn't mean anything if it doesn't taste delicious. So let's try it out. Okay. Excuse me while I bite and chew. Oh my God, look at that chocolatey, caramelly goodness. Ooh, okay, I need one more bite, guys. That's pretty amazing. Oh my. Okay. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. I wouldn't say that I can taste like sugar cookie to it. More of like plain cookie. The chocolate chips are sort of melty and it combines with the caramel. So it kind of reminds me, you know those candies, Rolos. So if you bite into a Rolo, how you go through the chocolate and then you kind of get that smooth, gooey caramel thing right behind it. That's kind of like this, but with the sweetness of a basic cookie, like all wrapped into one. This is a winner. This is a thumbs up. This is freaking delicious. I would definitely recommend trying it. The recipe is not that hard. You saw me make it and it's very basic recipe. Anybody can do this, I think. But it is delicious. This one this is a keeper. Okay, everybody, so that is the end of this Bake With Me video. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I really like this recipe. I actually took a little break and finished my piece, and I think I'm gonna brew up some coffee and have one more and just call it dinner. I mean, it's almost 6 o'clock, right? So that works. I will link the recipe below for anybody who would like to try it. And also, while you're down there, please hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button. I truly appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.